Let's see, is this better?
Have you still got me?
Yeah, I've got you. Do you have me?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and try to do this. Hi, and welcome to another edition of 100 Days of Consciousness. This is day 36. Am I correct, Anastasia?
I believe so, yeah.
How are you doing? How are you doing with your 100 Days of Consciousness?
Actually, I'm doing really good. I feel like physically I feel good. I've been exercising, eating right. That's all great. I feel like I'm going to a deeper level in my own personal life with, like I said before, decisions I've needed to make and what I've needed to come to. So how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I didn't get to exercise as much as I would like to. I exercised 3 times this past week, but as you know, I'm doing an incredible amount of webmastering right now. And trying to cut my phone off. I forgot to do that, folks. Sorry. And I have just been really, really swamped with that. But I made a point to exercise at least 3 times. I've ate really good. And as I told you, I'm going to do vegetarian all next week. I'm going to try to. My goal is to go all vegetarian for 2 weeks. I don't eat a tremendous amount of wheat. Not wheat. Well, I don't eat wheat. Try not to eat wheat anyhow. But I don't eat a tremendous amount of meat, but just a couple times a month anyhow. So just kind of felt like I just wanted to be meat free for a couple of weeks again. So,
Yeah.
you are getting ready now. Next week, folks, we won't be on because she will be at a pumpkin regatta. And I was just interrogating her before we turned it on because somebody had asked me that heard us talking last week what was a pumpkin regatta. So would you explain to them what a pumpkin regatta is? Because I think it is just like the coolest thing.
Okay. So here in Nova Scotia, we have the Atlantic giant pumpkin. So I think the world record, my son told me he works at the farm. I think yesterday the largest one was like around 1,800 pounds, so it broke a world record. So anyways, they take large pumpkins, like large. So I think the first year my pumpkin was 700 pounds. The second year was like 8. And then the last year I did it was just over 1,000 pounds. And we scoop them out and we make them into boats, essentially. And then we race them across the lake. So I'm going, after we finish our taping today, to go over and pick my pumpkin for next week.
And how big do you think your pumpkin will be that you pick? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for 1,000 pounds.
See, that was just what I was interrogating her about. And I was like, do you get inside it and scoop it out or what? And she's like, no, we have to. So you climb up on a ladder and hang down upside down in it?
No, well, no, it's not. It's not like that big. Like it would be. So it would maybe come up like to your waist. So we cut the top off, and it's actually not as much stuff in there as like a regular pumpkin, as much as you think. So you cut the top off, and then you start to scoop it out and take the seeds and everything out because the seeds are valuable. So we usually give them back to the farm, which Danny takes them, and then we paint it and decorate it. We put like a foam piece in the bottom because your knees you can push through. So I don't get in the pumpkin until it's in the water. And then next week we'll get in the water, which is kind of daunting. It's kind of like you know what you're in for because you've done it before. It's kind of scary. And the biggest thing is like how to balance the pumpkin because that's really hard. So I'm rowing with my friend. So getting the two of us in and trying to balance the pumpkin and get it across the lake is actually a huge feat. I mean, the first year I think my legs cramped up so bad when I climbed out I didn't even have any feeling in them.
And I think you told me you made it across once and you sunk once.
Yeah, we sunk. We went out a couple years ago, and it was actually a really nice day, which was great. But we went out in the water, and we were out, and I think we had kind of cut it wrong. We cut it like too front heavy, so we started taking on the water. And then the water just kept coming in, and the water's really cold this time of year. And I had the brilliant idea too that we didn't need our life jackets, so we were kneeling on them, so they didn't really help us much. And the rescue boat had to come out because you can't swim in water that cold.
That's funny. You guys need to take us some pictures, or if you wanted to, you could record it on your smartphone and upload it. But it would be funny.
I could have one of my children record it, depending on the outcome, whether I'm sinking or swimming or I'm making it across. See, this is the thing with the 1,000-pound pumpkin is we'll make it across because we're hoping. I mean, there's always we're going to just make it across. I'm putting that thought out there, and so that's going to be fun. That's next weekend.
I told her I think that is the coolest thing because how many people can say that they floated across a lake in a pumpkin in this lifetime.
Actually, I believe this year is going to be the biggest. I think the biggest year. I don't know how many entries are going in, but maybe like 60 entries or more.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty big. The race is pretty big. I don't expect to win. I expect to get from point A to point B, and that's it.
Why not expect to win, and let's see how you do.
Okay, sure. It's a lot of work. Like, there's people that come from all over. We've had professional rowers, like people that rowed in the Olympics, come and row the pumpkins, and yeah, it's going to be.
Well, I started every year we go with a different theme. This year we're going with Season of the Witch for Halloween. So my husband is insisting on making a bunch of witches to go around one of our big pampas grasses, which he's putting a huge bag over, cutting it down, putting a huge bag over of a pumpkin. And he's going to have a pumpkin king, not Nightmare Before Christmas because we've done that before, but a pumpkin king, a pumpkin spirit coming out of it. So it should be really cool. But last night we went to Lowe's and he bought the PVC pipe and all that to make the witches with. We bought the hats and all that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. One year, I've got some pictures somewhere. I have to look. I think I might have them online in a photo album. He did the bride. What is it called? I can't think of the name of the movie after Tim Burton with the dead bride. We did that. We did Nightmare Before Christmas one year. And he's done some really cool ones. But with the bride, it was really funny. He took an old wedding gown. He made her huge coming off of our roof swooping down, and it was just an awesome sight. So last year I think we just went with a death theme and ghoulish theme, and he did a huge reaper swooping down off the roof. So I don't know. He says this year he's not going to do it off the roof. He's going to have it coming out of the pampas grass, looking huge, flying over the pampas grass. That'll be really interesting to see.
Oh, I like to see a picture
I
of
know.
that.
I have to. If he does well, I might try to. If we don't get rained out, I might try to film it. Now, a couple of Halloweens he's got rained out, but usually we do pretty good with it.
Oh, wow.
Usually, but I did really good with my diet. I've done fair with my exercise. Really good with my meditation. I'm really happy with that. How's your meditating going?
It's going pretty good. It's been a really busy week for me. My son had a birthday, and it was just like really busy. So I did still manage to do my meditation in the morning and at night. And I find if I don't get enough time in at night, I find it's really helping me sleep better, which for me is huge because I'm not I need more sleep. We talked about that. So I do find that I've been on top of my sleep this week, and I've been getting more, which is great. I'm really happy with that. But I think the bigger thing for me, like I said, was like just kind of going into what it is I'm doing in my life and what it is I want to change, which we were going to talk about a little bit about that today, I think.
Yeah, and the corpse bride, that's the theme that he went with, where she looks so good. Yeah, let's start with some of the questions that we got in. I was running so late today, I forgot to mail you one, but the one I wanted to start with, we forgot to answer last week. I think I'm not sure if Jessica or Rachel sent it in. It's two sisters. Their dog had died, and they had the question. They had her cremated, and they have her ashes. And I had answered their question on YouTube, but I wanted you to answer it because you are a pet psychic. And their question was, can you communicate with deceased pets, and how would you recommend to communicate with a deceased pet?
Okay. Yes, I do feel you can communicate with any spirit that has crossed over. I think the best way to communicate with any pet, whether living or dead, is through pictures. They don't use words, so if you're trying to talk to your pet, that's not going to work. You're better off to use like a picture, like get a mental picture, connect with the energy of your pet, and send the picture through, whether that's a live pet or a pet that's crossed over. I do feel that they communicate with us, especially if we're extremely close with them. I had a Newfoundland dog for years, and I've never gotten another dog since Jessie. I have another small dog that I had when I had Jessie, and to this day, I mean, I feel her around me. I do feel pets will reincarnate and come back to us quickly, as you do, Gab. I really do, but I think if we're not ready for a new pet, I don't feel our pet always comes back quickly. Like I haven't gotten another dog, and I still feel like Jessie's on the other side waiting for me to be in the right space to reincarnate and come back to me.
I would agree with that. So if you were someone wanting to communicate with a deceased pet, you would say for them to take a picture
No, like through pictures in our mind, like
Okay.
form a picture, right? Like if you want to just like have a picture of you like kissing them or snuggling them, then have that picture and hold their thought with it and kind of send that picture to them mentally. Because they will go through, like animals, when I communicate with animals, they usually give me a picture. They don't give me words. I usually get a picture or a sensation or a feeling from them.
Mhm. I know, as a medium, I have a lot of clients that'll tell me that they felt their dogs or their cats lying on their bed at night. And that, you know how, like, when an animal walks, especially a cat on the bed, how they do that
Yeah.
feeling, and that they, that they feel that. So, and I know that I've picked them up via EVP a good many times. So I do know that it is possible. And I think the way to communicate depends on the person. And I'm like you could sit and do it with symbolism in your mind. You can talk out loud and speak it. You can ask them. Another really good way, and I like for people to do, is to try it in the dream state. I think pets are really great at communicating with us, and our guides coordinating that in the dream state. There are many different ways, but the answer to the girls is yes, you can communicate with deceased pets if they have not reincarnated. Now, I believe that many pets reincarnate within the first year to 2 years. That's not always the case, but they've told us that via Ghost Box. I picked that up via EVP, and I just think it rings true. But I don't think that's always the case with every pet. Certain pets might be gone 20 years, but a lot of them do seem to recycle through really, really fast. There's also a thought out there, and I haven't asked about this, but group souls. Do you believe that dogs and cats, horses, cows, whatever, have group souls as well?
Yes, I do.
A lot of people do, and so that's really cool. But I know that a couple of my dogs that have been deceased have visited me in the dream state. So I certainly believe that that is very, very possible. Now we're getting a lot of the same questions again. Again, why 100 days? And that is because it is repetitive and it gets you into doing it, without thinking and consciously doing it. Because it's 100 days of consciousness. It's about being conscious and purposely doing it until you set yourself into a pattern. When are we broadcasting? I had 3 of those questions this morning. Always on Sundays at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, except for this coming Sunday. And I think it was Sunday was it the 27th? I said that is when I'm taking off for Halloween.
I think that was the Sunday you said you wanted off.
Yeah, and I think you may broadcast without me. That's really up to you. Yep, that's the 27th. So there you go. Other than that, we're getting down there, you guys. We're over a quarter of a ways through. Can you believe it, Anastasia?
No, I can't. It's gone really fast for me.
Now let's talk about the challenge that you gave us last week to connect with the Earth. Now I know what I did, but what did you do?
Well, I'm always outside. I love being outdoors. So I really made a point of connecting with Earth. And I also went out with my camera and took a lot of pictures of things that I really loved and really kind of appreciated them as I was doing it because I do love, I think this time of year, well, for us, it's fall and it's just, the colors are changing and it's just so beautiful outside. So it's very easy to be outside right now for us. And I think it's also great because we're coming up to winter when outside isn't always an option.
I walked 4 miles on the beach. I walked 2 miles one way and 2 miles the other way, and I took my shoes off so that I could walk, on the cusp of the ocean. So that's just really amazing. And I did it in deep thought, and I think that's just a wonderful way because water is a conduit for spirit. Had a really, really good time. But I did that purposely for that. And I'm like you, I'm constantly doing different things in the garden and whatnot. But I did that consciously and purposely as a form of meditation and exercise at the same time. And you can combine your meditating with your exercising. It's a great thing to do. And I guess this coming week, one of the ways that you're going to be connecting is going across the lake in a pumpkin.
Well, it's kind of more just for fun. I know that's a kind of strange thing for fun, but that's kind of fun. I did want to talk a little bit about like the consciousness because, like you said, we've been getting a lot of questions as to why. So why would we want to become more conscious beings? Well, to me, we want to be more conscious to be aware of ourselves. For self-awareness, self-love, connection to spirit, peace, joy, happiness, all of those things. And I think so many times in our life, and for change, and that's the biggest one, is that so many times in our life, I think we either are not doing something or doing something in an unconscious fashion. Sometimes it's something really, really large, like our job or, our schooling or even where we live or what we're doing. And we get caught in these habitual patterns of having our view of ourselves from the outside in, where we really need to view ourselves from the inside out. And I think for me, and our biggest relationship, first and foremost, is with ourselves and with spirit. And when we become conscious, we bring that into our relationships with others, ourselves, spirit, what we want to create and do in the world. And and we've talked about this guy, like how our words and our thoughts and our consciousness create our reality. So that is the biggest reason why we want to be conscious, is because we want to make those changes in our reality. So, and I do feel it's very tied in with self-love, because I think a lot of times we are very unconscious or purposely unconscious or not looking at something because it's difficult or we perceive a block. So I kind of thought, okay, what if, and again, I say to myself, but if you could create anything you want to create, because we create it in our thought first, what would I be creating? And that's what I've really been kind of getting real with myself. And a lot of times, we create what we're creating because of our children, our parents, the people around us, whatever. And it's like, now, okay, what do I want to create? I'm also coming to a point in my life where my kids are growing up. So I'm looking at what I want to create for myself and my own self-love and that kind of thing. And I'm getting really clear on what it is I want. And also the question I'm putting out is, when we have something that we think we are not achieving, I'm asking myself, is this really a block, or is this just my mental block? And really kind of putting out that question as to, okay, if this is what I want, what do I do next? I really believe in divine guidance as well. And when we put forth a question and we're very conscious, we will get an answer.
I agree. One of the things I always think about with people, there are people who get answers really fast, and some it takes a time. But if you ask and you expect an answer, you usually do get an answer from your higher consciousness, your guides, God, source, whatever your belief system is. I found that people that are really, really skeptical, they have a lot more trouble with that, because a lot of it has to do with our faith. Why will it bother trying to make an answer if you're not really expecting to get an answer? You see what I'm saying? So a lot about how our perception has to do with our faith and our emotion behind it. And that's why I think before any word is spoken, it's a thought. But before any thought is a feeling, it's an emotion. It's something that is bubbling up inside of you, even if it's a simple thought like, let's say, let's go mow the grass. That's a simple thought, right? It's not something that's profound, but it's, you're feeling like, I need to mow the grass. Maybe I've got some extra energy to burn off. You see what I'm saying? It's a thought. Then you have your more profound and your deeper thoughts, about God. What is God? What is universe? What is reality? And things like that. But they all start with an emotion. So I think our state of emotion is very, very important. If you stay in a state of turmoil, you're always upset, you're always scared, you're always depressed. I just see that these people seem to have a lot harder time connecting, don't you?
I do. I don't think that we can connect in a space of fear. I really feel like, if you think about what fear does to us just on a regular basis, if we go watch a scary movie, we freeze, we pull back in, we get, we think of a kid who's scared, they climb into bed and they pull the covers over their head and they can't move. They're immobilized by fear. So if we're in a state of fear, if that fear is translated, like you said, into depression, being upset, or turmoil, it's all coming from a place of fear. There's something underlying it really deep that's making them afraid. Whether they're afraid to be hurt, they're afraid to follow their heart, they're afraid to believe in themselves. It's all coming from a space of fear.
That's what I believe as well. I believe it's an inwardly statement of inwardly things going on, and it's outwardly statements of inwardly things going on. So what we really want to do is we want to have outwardly statements of inwardly changes that are for the positive. So I would say, because somebody wrote me and asked me about that, if you're coming from a place, a dark place, whether it's fear depression, whatever that dark spot is for you. For different people, it's different things. Acknowledge it. But I would say take a step back and view it as a third person perspective. Don't allow yourself to get all caught up in it, panicking or crying or anger. Acknowledge it. Just let it roll past you, kind of like a river. And look at it from a third person perspective, just like if you were watching a kid in a mall throwing a tantrum. Watch it from that perspective, allow it to pass through, and then move on past it. That is the best advice I can give through people from that. And once you acknowledge it, you let it roll on past, then you can work on fixing it. You can change the way that you think. You can by changing the way that you think, you change your emotions. And you start, even if you're feeling bad, you say, well, you know what, I feel great. And do something to show that you're feeling great. And you will start feeling great.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing, too, is like when we come up against whatever a problem or whatever, we cannot, and I really believe in guidance, and I know it's easy for some of us and not as easy for others, but when we really put the question forth and say, like, what is my block here? Why do I think I can, think I can't, think anything? We'll usually get an answer, and I'm a really big why person. So I always want to know the why. But I also find that really helps in becoming conscious. Knowing why and being conscious of why we're choosing what we're choosing and how we're choosing it automatically can remove blocks.
I would agree. I remember when I was little and I was raised in church, I used to ask the minister all the time, who is God's dad? If God is Jesus' dad, who is God's dad? And it'd be always just like stammering and stuttering, because I'm like, you always want to know who, why, where. And so that I'm like you, always am searching for something just a little bit deeper, because I just can't take the mainstream answers to things usually.
I want to know why, because there's always a why behind every decision, even if it's, why do I want to go mow the grass? I want to get inside, whatever it happens to be. There's always a why. There's always a reason behind something we're doing. And I think if you're really conscious, we need to be in touch with who we are, our self-awareness, and why we make the choices we make, and how we make the choices we make.
All right. So I would say for the next week, everybody keep up with that 30-day challenge to connect with nature in some way at least once a week. Let's monitor our exercise and be trying to get away from our computers a little more and exercising at least 3 times a week, preferably 4 or 5, but at least 3 times a week. Let's watch what we take into our body. And when I say take into our body, I just don't mean junk food necessarily. I mean where it comes from, what the ingredients are, is it genetically modified, all that kind of stuff. Let's really be accountable for that, and let's meditate and connect with God, with Source, and let's try to do at least one kind act, a day for someone. It doesn't take anything to do one kind act for somebody. That could be buying somebody a cup of coffee. That could be opening the door for someone. That could be picking a little kid up and setting them in a chair. But let's do at least one kind act that we wouldn't normally do a day. All right? Do you have any final thoughts, Miss Anastasia?
Yeah, if everybody could just, every time they make like a fairly large decision, ask themselves where that's coming from within them. Is it one of their beliefs? Is it someone else's belief? Like, just why am I doing what I'm doing?
And I almost forgot. People love the psychic exercises, the psychic development exercises that we've been posting. I just posted one yesterday morning. It is how to communicate with, I hate the word ghost, so I put it on there for search engine reasons, for ghost, with spirits, ghost, elementals, dimensional beings, and that. One of the questions people ask me constantly, at least daily, I get this question, if not several times, how do I do it? So if you want to know how, watch that video. But I do want to put a warning up there. If you live alone and you scare easy, don't do it. Do the other exercises. So have you had a chance to watch it yet, Anastasia?
No, I have not. I have not been watching too much on the computer, but I might get to that this week.
It's on YouTube, and it's also on our website on agelessknowledge.com. Click on the 100 Days of Consciousness, and you will see it there. For people who might be snagging this on YouTube, you can watch us live at agelessknowledge.com by clicking on the free TV tab. And if you can't watch us live at noon on Eastern Standard Time on Sundays, you can catch us in rerun at 100 Days of Consciousness after you go to agelessknowledge.com, click on the 100 Days tab, and you can watch us in rerun and you can watch them. And then you can always watch us also on YouTube, but you don't catch everything on YouTube, but we're youtube.com/agelessknowledge. And we're getting ready to celebrate 1 year. Can you believe it's been this long? Because you've been with me since the beginning.
Well, so working with you loosely because I haven't done as much lately.
And we're going to be switching over to agelessknowledge.tv. We're in the process. We have a skeleton hub up. That's going to be coming over the next couple months. We've also got a skeleton Roku channel developed, and we've got to get the programming up for that. So there's much going on. It's a really exciting time. But getting back to YouTube, we're going to be giving away some great prizes for subscribers. So you want to go to youtube.com/agelessknowledge and subscribe to us, because we're going to be giving away stuff in October, November, and December. And I don't know everything we're going to be giving away, but I do know some of the things that we're going to be giving away is $50 gift cards. So at a time when people are needing money for Christmas gifts, this is a great thing to do. All right? And Anastasia's website is chakrareader.com. That is chakrareader.com. My website is Gabreael.com. We are brought to you by Ageless Knowledge TV and agelessknowledge.com. You hang on there, Anastasia. Bye, everybody.
Bye.